You feel like you're nothing, but you wanna be something. Yeah, well, all you really need is hope. I just want you to trust me if you wanna be something.
That's right. Let's go. Yeah, when you're feeling down and you're out, like you got nothing but doubt, you're alone in the crowd, just trying to figure it out. All of this cloud and this money got you feeling left out. Listen up to me now, every word that's out of my mouth. Wake up, it's me. You're gonna follow your dreams, or are you just gonna be another cog in the sea? You feel the hope in this beat, yeah, the hope that you need to proceed and be exactly what you want it to be. I feel right and I'm proud, hype and I'm loud. I'ma shout all about how I feel in the now. Ain't nobody ever gonna try to change me till I'm dead, pushing up daisies. I'm alone in the crowd, I won't feel down. I got hope right now, and I know I'll be found. I don't really care just what all other haters gotta say. I know everything I do is gonna make them fade away.
And when you feel like you're nothing, but you wanna be something. Yeah, well, all you really need is hope. I just want you to trust me if you wanna be something. Yeah, then all you really need is hope.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, it's what you need when you're down, need when you're out. It's what you need when you're sad and when you feel left out. You feel an energy drought and then creeps out, but with a little bit of hope you can figure it out. Keep your head high even when you're down inside. Through the pain you fight and through the painful nights you keep striving, keep trying, keep driving, rising, keep thriving, surviving. Nothing's in your way but yourself. Don't need nobody's help. You can make it through this hell. Take it one step at a time, one step as you climb. If you fail you'll be fine. Get back up to the grind and never lose sight of your mission. Be driven. This life is a prison if you don't have vision. You're in it to win it, so get it, don't miss it. Your chances now, so be something somehow. Don't let yourself down. That's right. Sometimes all we really need is hope.
Hey everyone, good morning. How are you guys? I hope everybody's having a good morning. Thank you so much, Skittles Crime Time. I don't know why I almost said True Crime. Skittles Crime Time. Thank you so much for the super chat, right, kicking it off. And happy 2 months on your membership. Congratulations. And Pointer Lover, happy 1 month as well. I hope you guys all had a good night's rest and everybody is refreshed and drinking their coffee and doing all of the morning time things. How is everybody? So this News Nation report, you guys, came out on the 21st, which of course I was packing and doing all of the things, but I wanted to go over it with you still because it does bring Madalina back into the algorithm and back into to everyone's eyes. You guys know that she is one of those cases that I really think that we do not talk about enough. Out of all of the children that I have covered recently, I would say that Madalina probably has one of the biggest chances of being found and being found alive. It's just a matter of trying to figure out where they put her. She was last seen on November 21st of 2022 in Cornelius, North Carolina. She was 12 years old at the time of her disappearance, or she is age 12 now. She is 4'10", 90 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, last seen wearing jeans, a white t-shirt, pink and purple white Adidas. So the phone number for the Cornelius Police Department is 704-892-7773. This one is one of those cases where whenever they first reported her missing, a lot of people immediately jumped to what did they do to her, thinking that possibly she could have been murdered or something along those lines. However, new details, new information, and the course of the investigation have led a lot of questions and speculation about exactly what could have happened. There was rumors that she had been seen in the mountains with a male relative of hers. There was also rumors that she had been seen with Diana after she initially was last quote unquote seen. It's just really, I don't know, it's up in the air still. But the timeline for the disappearance that we have from like the initial course of events that happened was that on November 23rd at 10 p.m., Madalina, according to Diana, went into her room and Diana was arguing with the stepdad, Christopher. November 24th, Christopher drove to his family's house in Michigan. November 24th at 11:30 a.m., Diana said that she realized that Madalina was not in her room. However, she did not report her missing. On November 26th at 7 p.m., Christopher arrived back home and told Diana that he does not know where Madalina is. Diana doesn't report the girl missing and said that it was because she was worried that it would spark conflict with her husband. She didn't want to start an argument. December 12th, school resource officers attempt to visit her home because she had been absent from school since November 21st. And on December 14th, Diana met with the school counselors and revealed that Madalina had been missing since November 23rd. December 15th, Madalina was reported missing as officers met with Chris and Diana. And on December 17th, Diana and Chris were arrested for failure to report the disappearance of a child. So I'm going to poke over and see. Y'all still saying good morning. Yeah, it's been almost a year, Pointer Lover. It's crazy to think how long this has been going on. I know, Cooter G, screw the argument. Like, how can anyone say that their child being missing or not missing is, having an argument with your significant other is more or less important. So, here's some more pictures of her. Like I said, this article came out on the 21st. I unfortunately was not able to cover it at the time whenever it came out. We're going to take a look at this article, but we're also going to watch the News Nation special that they did. It's about 24 minutes long, I think. Obviously, we'll pause and talk in between and stuff. But I think it's important, like I said, to continuously bring her back up. Of course, a month ago, whenever Chris bailed out of jail because they lowered his bond, um, we covered it then as well. Her picture, her face is just so important to continuously bring up because she is out there somewhere. Everything in me is telling me that she is not deceased. Um, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and they could have done something horrendous to her. But to me, it seems like mom put her somewhere, right? That's the thoughts and the feelings that I have. It seems like mom sent her away or something along those lines. Heck, even both of them could have been involved in it. Her grandmother is saying that the stepfather sold her for money. But we know that police were releasing the picture of mom's car and the picture of her with mom. I know it does. It seems like it's only been a few months. No, this year has gone extremely fast. Hi, Amber Riot. Uh, yeah, you believe she's alive too. She's out there somewhere. Okay, so this says Madalina Cojocari, new theories emerge in the case of missing North Carolina girl. She has been missing since November of 2022. Her grandmother is saying that Madalina's stepfather sold her for money, and the stepfather says that Madalina's mother is hiding her away in the mountains. So we'll watch the video in just a moment, but it says last November, a North Carolina girl got off of her school bus and vanished. The case has so many twists and turns, but as the anniversary of her disappearance approaches, there are still no answers to what happened to Madalina. Police in Cornelius, North Carolina have been searching for Madalina for more than 9 months. Her mother and stepfather have been charged with failure to report her missing because they waited 3 weeks before filing a police report. That report came only after the girl's school demanded to see her. Since News Nation last reported on Madalina's case, unsealed warrants have revealed new details about her mother's trips to the mountains in western North Carolina. According to jail calls discussing bags of money, potential sightings of Madalina, and a distant relative appearing in the theories about the case. Now, it does make you question, however, if she was hiding her away and, you know, keeping her from Chris, would he have reported her missing? I think that's the one question is, why didn't he report her missing? Why doesn't he know the location of her? Why isn't he able to say one way or another where she possibly could be? And so a lot of people have that question and say that he could possibly be involved in this. But we know the judge just recently dropped his bail and things like that because the judge is not finding enough evidence to say that he for sure knows where she is, basically. Yeah, you don't have the impending doom sense like you did with most others. I feel someone is trying to protect her for someone else. It's possible. Hi, Rexy. Hi, Crafty Chris. Good morning, Shortcake. Good morning, Rhonda. Hi, Salty C. Sorry, guys. I didn't say hi to most everybody. I'm just jumping around. Oh, no, I hope you feel better, Heather Brat. I'm sorry you got bronchitis. Yeah, maybe he doesn't care. So I was thinking about that. So if for example, whenever I was with my husband in the beginning, if I would have sent my son away, would he have called would he have called and reported him missing? I don't think he would have. Just to be completely honest, I think he would have assumed that he was at my grandmother or at my mom's or at his grandmother's or something along those lines. I'm not sure that he would have immediately raised red flags just because I was, you know, his mom. And because, he was like kind of nervous to be stepdad and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And so maybe that's the situation. Maybe she just kind of brushed it off to Chris like, "Oh, well, she's with so and so," and he just let it go. But it makes me wonder if he has said that to the police at all. Has he told them, "Well, she said that she was with that Madalina was with someone else." You've never heard of this case? Well, I'm glad that you're here then, Danielle. Right, maybe he is afraid that if he reports her missing, she said she would report something else, like abuse or something like that. That's the other side of things. I really think that there's a possibility that because of whatever criminal activity that they had going on in the background, he wouldn't have raised red flags just because of not wanting to get police involved in his life. There's a very real possibility that they are involved in some shady, shady things. So let me look through these pictures real quick. This is a picture of her on the beach. She has her favorite horses and her baby doll or her Barbie dolls there in the picture. Here's another one, kind of blurry. So this is a letter that was handwritten from the family of Madalina, from the family regarding Madalina. It says, "We as a family are devastated and absolutely heartbroken to learn that Madalina is missing. We love Madalina and are shocked by these circumstances. This is something no child or family should ever have to endure. Our family is doing everything we know to do to support the efforts to find Madalina and bring her home. We are and continue to have hope and positivity in this difficult time and pray that she is found safe very soon. We know and greatly appreciate that the local, state, and national and online communities have come together to share flyers and offer positive support, hold prayer vigils, support law enforcement, and are doing everything possible to find and bring Madalena home safely. We are also appreciative of all of the efforts, endless hours, and boots on the ground of the and state, and federal law enforcement agencies and individuals with the same goal. Madalena is a beautiful and smart, kind, and loving 11-year-old girl. She's 12 now, with greatness in her future. We are desperate to find her right now. She needs all of our help. We ask for your continued positive support and sharing far and wide the posters and pictures of Madalena. Each and every state may be one step closer to finding her. If you believe you have seen Madalena or have any information related to her whereabouts, please contact your local law enforcement agencies or the North Carolina Police Department and come forward with this information. Anything may help. Our family would like to express sincere gratitude to each and every one of you for your support. Our family will continue to do everything we know and learn to do for Madalena's safe return home. Blessings." This is a picture of her with a horse. feel like
Someone was helping the horse.
Mhm. And I think, like, facial features are a very important thing to pay attention to for Madalina, because it is very likely that they have cut her beautiful long hair, dyed it, something along those lines to help her blend in more to society. Happy 11 months, Struggle Israel. Good morning, dear. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, Amy M. This seems strange, but what if they know playing the part of he said, she said while playing the system? Maybe. Kiki's eyes, I'm so sorry you were diagnosed with breast cancer, hun. Definitely will be praying for you. Yes, she is extremely beautiful. I hope she is safe and cared for wherever she is. Neither one ever gave you the sense of urgency as if they both know. I mean, there is still the possibility that they both are completely uh, knowledgeable about exactly what or where Madalena is. That is certainly possible. I just I don't know. I can't help but think that, Chris may not have raised red flags simply because he was trying to protect his secret life and didn't want police poking around. But he may not know exactly where she is. I think he's the type of guy would have totally rolled if he had any inkling about where. All this time I've been waiting for one of them to turn on the other and say where she was, and it just wasn't happening. So the interview we're gonna watch, talks about the efforts to bring Madalena home, and one of the things that he will say is, "I can say with confidence that we have followed up on hundreds of leads, spent thousands of man-hours between our agency and all of our partner agencies." The last images of Madalena are from November 21st, 2022, when she is shown getting off of her school bus. Police say Diana, Madalena's mother, told them she had last seen her daughter on Wednesday night, November 23rd. Diana and her husband, Christopher, had an argument and he drove to the family's home in Michigan. When Diana went to check on Madalena on Thanksgiving morning, she was gone. A backpack full of clothing and some of her favorite toys were also missing. That to me was like a good flag that she could possibly still be out there, because whoever took her also took her favorite toys. That's something only a child, I think, would do, would be to pack their favorite items or whatever. So maybe she was told, "Hey, you're gonna go stay with so and so, get some clothes gathered up, whatever you might need to be there." And so she packed her some clothing and her favorite toys. Both parents are facing charges for not reporting their daughter missing for 3 weeks. In the latest development, two conflicting theories have begun to emerge about what happened to Madalena. Brandon Roseman, which is Chris's attorney, has says his client has cooperated with police and believe that Diana is hiding her daughter away. He told police on several occasions that he believes Diana had taken Madalena somewhere in the mountains. Let me move this over here so that I can see the chat better. Hi, Quinny. You think that something happened to her during the fight, and it's certainly possible. I'm like erring on the side of hope, I guess, that I don't want her to be deceased, right? I want her to be able to be found. And I think out of all of the children that we have talked about lately, she is certainly probably one of the biggest chances we have for a safe recover. Please don't touch the buttons, baby. You can sit here, but you can't touch the buttons, okay? Sorry. My daughter's sitting on my lap. Um, okay, so what reason could Diana have for hiding her daughter away? Chris says that he believed that he was, or Diana believed that he was putting Madalena in danger by naming her as a beneficiary on an investment account. In these interviews he gave police, he is adamant that he does not believe Diana harmed Madalena. He believes that Diana fervently believes that Madalena is in danger. Oh, baby. Sorry. Okay, so He believes that Diana fervently believes that Madalina is in danger from some unknown third party, apparently related to him placing money and assigning benefits to her in a 401k account, something that doesn't make any sense. According to police, in a text message from December 2nd, more than a week after Madalina's disappearance, Diana indicated that she was in the presence of the missing girl. That was the same day she allegedly had extensive conversations with a male cousin identified as Octavian about smuggling her and Madalina away from Chris. Baby, please don't press buttons. Don't tell her that, Heather Brat. I will. I'll end up muting myself at some point. Anyways, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to close my page. Then I won't know how to read. That would be silly. Hey, Dalena. So, according to police, okay, wait. Yeah, we're there. On December 3rd, Diana was seen in Hickory, North Carolina, an hour west of her home, getting oil changed. An attendant said there were children's toys in the car, but no child was present. The warrant states that December 4th, 2022, Diana traveled towards North Carolina mountains. A local TV station reported that the sheriff's deputy found Diana sleeping in her car the night near Lonesome Mountain. Police have asked any witnesses who saw Diana or her Prius in the area around that time to come forward. News Nation traveled to the mountains of northern North Carolina to investigate a possible sighting of Madalina. The description matching her and a male relative. Yeah, I can share the link. Yep, sure. It's from News Nation. It's from the 21st of this month. So, on December 16th, a woman reported seeing a girl resembling Madalina with a male companion at a Lowe's grocery store in Sugar Mountain, North Carolina. There was a possible sighting at the Lowe's food here in Sugar Mountain. We were able to track down video still footage of that and forwarded that to Cornelius. The police said the sighting, along with another one in California, did not turn out to be Madalina. But the area is vast, the outdoor experts say, and it would be easy to stay hidden. There is a lot of remote locations here. It would be easy to hide somebody if you really wanted to, or spend time away from anything you want, said the local store owner, Mark Russ. There's just a lot of open space, a lot of places without internet or cell signal, a lot of woods, and a lot of roads that go way off and dead end. Affidavits also revealed jail calls. One was believed to be Chris and his brother, saying Diana had a lot of cash with her and he didn't know where it came from. Another call was between Diana and her mother, discussing a bag of money, withdrawing cash, and a theory that Chris gave Madalina away for money. So they're both kind of having phone calls about selling Madalina, but both of those calls indicate the other parent. It's not like it's both people accusing the same person, basically. Hi, Tony. Good morning, Roberta. Hi, Kim. And so, let's see. Diana's mother repeated the claims, speaking in Russian to reporters outside of the courthouse, which we watched this video, like I said, last month, whenever we went over this case, whenever Christopher bailed himself out of jail. So my children were caught up by child traffickers. My granddaughter is alive. She was sold along with Diana for $5 million. Warrants show that police have combed through the couple's financial records, as well as their social media messaging accounts and phone data. Cornelius police declined to give details, only saying that they are looking into every lead. We're taking everything that grandma has said into consideration during this investigation, and we're following up on all possibilities. But we have no indication right now that there is any sort of trafficking ring in our community. Of course, child trafficking is prevalent and it's a huge, huge deal in most communities, but police will never come out and say that there is child trafficking going on. Similar to they will never come out and say that there is a serial killer, and they will never come out and say, a lot of things. Okay. You wonder if it's something that she wasn't supposed to. I don't know if she's seen something she wasn't supposed to. It sounds like to me almost so if what Chris is saying is true, and her being worried that he started listing them on the 401k and listing them uh in places like on documentation, that could honestly make sense a little bit because of the fact that if Diana was worried, because what if Diana had some type of shady dealings and didn't want them to be able to be found by people because she is getting listed on official documents. And so she became terrified and fearful for her daughter's safety and felt the need to hide her away. Maybe the police are I don't think so, Amy. I don't think so. I think that what it comes down to is they get worried about public safety and making people afraid in their communities, like, they don't wanna panic, and so if they come out and say, "Oh, yeah, there's definitely a sex trafficking ring here," then people panic. Yeah, I could definitely understand not wanting to cause panic either. I mean, I get that. But they do that everywhere. I mean, every single time that it's like, "Oh, what if there's a serial killer because certain people are being targeted," or, whatever the situation is, they don't want to address it. They never say that there is a danger. Um, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, if you look back at, even, like, I'm gonna say school shootings and things like that, they try to keep the public blissfully unaware until they can no longer do that, right? They try to tuck things away until they have to say something. So, we're gonna watch this video from News Nation, though this kinda goes along with this article, and we're gonna watch the different guests that they have on for this. So, yes, mom was a mail out order bride from Moldova. You keep going back to that. You do need to warn the public. I agree with that. I'm not saying that I disagree, but oftentimes they try to keep from a panic. So, let me put this on and we will check this out.
Mysteries too. And in a moment, you'll have an opportunity to take part in the discussion of today's case and pose your questions. Today in our Missing series, we have an update on a case out of North Carolina and a little girl who got off her school bus last November and vanished. For more than 9 months, police have been searching for Madalina Cojocari. Her mother and
See, and so this is the last video that they have of her getting off the bus this day. And to me, she doesn't look like she is like an abused or scared child getting off of this bus. She looks like a typical teenager walking off a bus. Even goes as far as to fix her hair in the mirror of the bus and stuff like that. A lot of people were saying, like, in the very beginning about how it was obvious that she was murdered because she only ever wore long sleeves and she was always abused and blah, blah, blah. But here we see her in the last video of her, and she is wearing a short sleeve shirt. She does not have any obvious bruising that I can see, anyways, in this video. Um, and so, just to kind of put that to bed a little bit.
And her stepfather are charged with failing to report her missing because
Also,
they
like, most of
waited
the
3
pictures,
weeks
she
before
has her
filing
short
a police
sleeves.
report. And that was only when the girl's school demanded to see her. Since we last told you about Madalina's case, unsealed warrants have revealed some new details about the mother's trips to Western North Carolina to the mountains, recorded jail calls discussing bags of money, and potential sightings of Madalina and a distant relative. All of this as the girl's grandmother makes some bombshell allegations involving child trafficking, and her stepfather has been released on bond. Here's Nicole Burley with Madalina's case.
New video of
So I just want you guys, like, as we're watching this, to really pay attention to, like, her facial features and things like that. Because, like I said, if Diana is trying to hide her, or even Chris, if Chris is trying to hide her even, facial appearances, they can't change. You're not gonna change her dimples. You're not gonna change her, like, eyeline and the way her nose goes down and things like that. You can change your hair, right? You can't change that. You can't change your face.
Madalina Cojocari, the latest effort by Cornelius Police to keep the case on people's minds.
Anything and everything we can do to draw attention to this case so that we can hopefully find the information that we need to lead us to her.
In an exclusive interview with News Nation, the police chief talking about the efforts to bring Madalina home.
I can say with confidence that we have followed up on hundreds of leads and spent thousands of man hours.
It's been more.
And, like, I'm so glad that News Nation has their missing program the way that they do. Every Thursday, they cover a different missing child. There's so many cases. Even Gabby Petito, kind of came to light because of News Nation and Brian Etten going place to place like he does. Boots on the ground is not always a bad thing, as we have found out.
More than 9 months since these last images of Madalina getting off her school bus
You hear that
November
music is their
21st.
copyright
Police say
strike
Diana Cojocari told them she last saw her daughter at their home on Wednesday night, November 23rd. Diana and her husband, Christopher Palmer, had an argument, and he drove to his family's home in Michigan. When Diana went to check on Madalina on Thanksgiving morning, she wasn't there. A backpack of clothing and some of her favorite toys also gone. Both.
You just can't get over mom in jail and won't speak. But if she honestly thinks that she is protecting her child, if she honestly thinks that if she says something, somebody is gonna come and kill her daughter or kill her or something along those lines, I don't know. Diana was at her home in Moldova with Madalina not long before she went missing. You found her Facebook from that country and she had a lot of photos. Interesting. Sorry, I have to pause a lot. We mostly get ad revenue on this channel, and so every time that we play news clips and stuff like that, okay, that's a lie. You don't get that much ad revenue, and most of the time, the ad revenue is taken by clips like this that we play, I should say. And so, because we're not like a big like super chat channel or anything like that. Um, anyway, so they play the music and stuff in the background. You gotta like keep pausing and keep talking and stuff. So. Thank God it's not as noisy as the court TV stuff was yesterday, though. That music yesterday was intense. Yeah, you memorize faces and spread the word because you're always at a family shelter and you go to the men's shelter often. That's awesome, Elizabeth. Yeah. He is a little bit creepy looking.
parents face charges for not reporting her missing for 3 weeks.
I mean, he's definitely,
Now,
there's
two
reasons he
conflicting
needed a mail
theories
order
are
bride.
emerging about what happened to the girl. The attorney for Christopher Palmer says his client has cooperated with police and believes the girl is being hidden away by her mother.
He believed that Diana had taken Madalina somewhere up into the mountains. He tells detectives specifically that he believes Diana took her somewhere and that she is safe.
The reason?
A lot of that is stuff that we talked about the other day. You know, we talked about how, or not the other day, like last month, we were talking about, and we read down through all the different documents and stuff that they had put out with Christopher. And really, his lawyer at least is portraying it as if he really has no clue what is going on. Is that believable or not? I don't know. Would you go 2 weeks without reporting your stepkid missing? Oh my gosh, Roberta, the court TV music was horrible, horrible.
Palmer says Diana believed he put Madalina in danger by naming her as a beneficiary on an investment account.
In these interviews that Chris gave to the police, he's adamant that he does not believe that Diana harmed Madalina. He believes that Diana fervently believes that Madalina is in danger from some unknown third party, apparently related to him placing money and assigning benefits to her in a 401k account, something that doesn't make any sense.
According to police, in a text message on December 2nd, more than a week after the disappearance, Diana indicated she was in the presence of the missing girl.
I want to know who she was texting. Like, they've never really revealed that. I love how they blacked out Madalina to, protect her because she's a minor, but you can clearly read it also through this. Like, that was a very, very failed attempt at blocking out her name. But I want to know who she was texting. Like, who is she talking to? Was it just her? I think it was her male cousin, wasn't it? Delana, I really think that she put her somewhere. She had her with somebody after the fight with Chris. I mean, at first I thought that she might have been deceased. At first I thought, man, what did they do? Like, that they had killed her at some point through the course of the fighting and things like that, or he had killed her and drove her body somewhere between their house and where he went to go see his family, quote unquote. But then as stuff kept coming out, it's almost like Diana set it up to paint him as the fall guy for why she was missing, right? It's almost like Diana took that opportunity of him going on the trip and sending him away, like, or him going away, that fight, and then him leaving. It's almost like she took her and hid her at that point, and then knew that it would make Chris look guilty. And then even whenever she talked to the school, well, she never reported her missing because she was fearful of him because of their, tumultuous relationship. And so it's almost like she set him up to look bad. And she did something with her. That's what it looks like to me now. Yeah, you feel like we all felt that way at first, but when things came out, it seems like she's with someone she can trust. That's what I think too. Yeah, we're supposed to pretend like we don't see it. Sharpies are hard to come by. I know. She could be in Moldova. Honestly, Lindsay, she could have had her sent back home. Then you sit there and think, well, why sit in jail yourself? Why would she sit in jail? But if she is genuinely fearful of him or fearful from the people that she is associated with or that he is associated with, jail might be the safest place for her. I mean, this one does not give me Lori Vallow vibes. And I'm gonna be so upset if I am wrong about that. I'm gonna tell you. Because I'm not gonna lie, whenever JJ and Tylee were first reported missing, I honestly thought that it was possible that she could have put them in a bunker somewhere and was hiding them because of their weird religion. No, 7 years, Lindsay. You have to be gone for 7 years in most states. And even then, most life insurance policies don't pay out if there's no body or no proof of death. Wouldn't they have a record of her leaving the country? No, not necessarily, Amy. I mean, honestly, if you stop and think about it, how many people come into this country illegally? That's, I would say, double, triple that leave illegally. It's very, very easy to leave the country. It's not easy to come back in. Because coming back in is the only time the US is really like, "Hey, well, show me your papers." You believe mom sent her home where she came from? Yeah, Rhonda, it's possible.
It was the same day she allegedly had extensive conversations with a male cousin, identified as Octavian Sebanu, about smuggling her and Madalina away from Palmater. On December 3rd, Diana was seen in the city of Hickory, an hour west of her home, getting her oil changed. The attendant says there were children's toys in the car, but no child was present. And the Madison County Sheriff's Office confirms to News Nation on the night of December 4th, a deputy encountered Diana sleeping in her car near Lonesome Mountain. News Nation traveled to the mountains of western North Carolina to investigate a possible sighting of Madalina. On December 16th, a woman reported seeing a girl resembling Madalina with a male companion.
There was a possible.
So again, I mean, what are the chances that while her daughter is allegedly missing and she hadn't seen her since the 22nd, that she is like traveling an hour away from home, getting her oil changed there, sleeping in her car, doing all of these weird things while her daughter is supposedly missing. So, yeah, maybe that's why she visited home before she went missing. Maybe. Maybe she was setting up a sale. Maybe she was just setting up where her daughter was going to live whenever she went back home. Hi, Denise. Hi, Savage. What's up, girl? You want to know what stepdad has been up to since he got out? Me too. My goodness. Stepdad gives you bad vibes, and I get it. You know, he does not look like the most, and I'm not saying he doesn't have shady dealings even. He probably does. There's something that made Diana concerned enough that she is willing to spend time in jail and hide her daughter away rather than stay in that house, right? He's got, I don't know. But I do think that his overall appearance with, like, his shady looking eyes and his dark colored like, his darker skin complexion and stuff like that, I think it's just the way he was genetically made, and so people look at him and think like, "Oh, he looks sus," but really, can he control the way his eyes look or the way that his facial appearances look? No. I mean, that's just how he was made. And so, don't read too much into just his physical appearance. Like whenever you say stuff like he gives you bad vibes or he looks shady, is it just literally his appearance? Like, what if he really hasn't done anything? I do find it I do think that there was likely some type of shady dealings behind the scenes, though, that made her out. I know, Savage is a stranger at this point. You're back. That's so awesome. Savage, we gotta get you hooked up in the Temu group. They should have put a tracker on her car. But so all of these, her traveling around and things like that, it was all prior to her going. Hold on 1 second. Missy, if you're here, that should work. you're in here listening. I need the link and the code. They pulled you over? Oh, geez, and asked you all kinds of questions. That's so wow. That's crazy. They tried to keep you even though that you had a birth certificate. I was 7, all because you're brown and your mom and sister's white. Oh, wow. I have a friend, though, who is extremely dark complexioned compared to the rest of his family, and it's just the way things happened. Like, he looks very Italian, I guess is the way to say it. He looks very Italian, and his family does have Italian in their roots, but the rest of them are like it look like they could literally burn up in an instant in the sun. Like, and it's just so funny looking at him compared to them. Like, they all have dark hair and brown eyes and stuff like that, but they are, like, as pasty white as a sheet of paper, and he looks like an Italian. And it's like, how did you end up being a part of this family, you know? Oh yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Ween baby. Get that up. So, yeah, the more I talk about this, the more you feel about better about being alive. I really do think that that's possible. I'm gonna be so devastated though if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am.
Sighting at Lowe's Foods here in Sugar Mountain. We were able to track down video, still footage of that, and forwarded that to Cornelius.
But police say the sighting and another one in California did not turn out to be Madalina. Still, the area is vast, and outdoor experts say it would be easy to stay hidden.
There's a lot of remote locations here. It'd be easy to hide somebody
I mean,
if you
listen,
really
these
wanted
mountains
to,
are
or
super dense.
to spend time away from anything you want.
Just a lot of open space, a lot of places without internet or cell phone signal, a lot of woods, a lot of roads that go way off and dead end.
Also revealed in the affidavits, recorded jail calls, one between Palmater and his brother saying Diana had a lot of cash with her and he didn't know where it came from. And another call between
Ugh, music is building. They're like getting intense. He had a lot of cash with her. It's just funny because the phone calls, like I said, the 2 different calls, he had the one between his brother and sister-in-law, but she also had the one between her and her mom. And they both had the same story, that there was a lot of money and they didn't know where it came from. You tell me Madalina sold herself maybe and left the cash before she left, right? I mean, that's like the next thing that they're gonna jump to, I feel like. Um, but I I don't know. I don't know.
Diana and her mother discussing a bag of money, withdrawing cash, and a theory that Chris gave the girl away for money. Acclaimed Diana's mother, speaking in Russian, repeated to
Your
reporters
brother could
outside
pass
the
the
courthouse.
Spanish.
Мои дети попали у трафикантов для детей. Моя внучка живая, ее продали вместе с Дианой за $5 миллионов.
Warrants show police have combed through the couple's financial records, as well as social media, messaging accounts, and phone data. Cornelius police saying only they are looking into every lead.
We're taking everything that the grandmother has said into consideration during this investigation, and we're following up on all possibilities. But we have no indication right now that there's any sort of trafficking ring in our community.
Diana's mom, laying out photos on the sidewalk, asked if she has a message for Madalina.
The thing too with this, so grandma, I think it's possible if Diana knows where Madalina is, if for sure that Diana was the one who plotted this, I think it's very plausible that grandma knows exactly where Madalina is. Or that she knows that she is for sure alive, and it's probably one of those things where they have to make Diana look innocent. And so of course her mom's gonna be coming here and, trying to pretend. that she doesn't know. If she was good at planning, though, wouldn't she have realized that the school would have questions? Not necessarily, though, BC, because they weren't from here. I mean, in Moldova, do they hunt you down and literally come to your house if your kid doesn't come back to school? Something in me says I doubt it, right? She may not have realized that the school would go to the lengths that they did to come and find her. I don't know. I think this part's all the same. But I want to hear this lady. I'm going to skip to this lady.
Raveled into quite a web with two different theories.
Absolutely. So, what stands out to me the most, first of all, we have the failure to report Madalina gone missing for a very long time, right? 3 weeks. The law, Kaylee's law, kicks in after 24 hours when somebody, a parent, knowingly does not report a missing child. So that's part one. The other part that sticks out to me is that they didn't come eventually willingly to report Madalina missing. Instead, the school said we need to see Madalina. We haven't seen her in a certain period of time. So that, to me, that all leads to that intent element for that particular part of the case. Now, keep in mind, the mother is still being held. The stepfather's out on bond. He's cooperating, providing information. We learned a lot of new things from these warrants. And I'm thinking, and look, behind the scenes, once child trafficking is implicated, that is federal. So while this is still being investigated by the local law enforcement, I imagine behind the scenes, you have federal law enforcement investigating this case and seeing if there's other charges that may potentially be brought against Madalina's mother. And I think all of that is happening simultaneously. Whether or not there's merit to what the grandmother said, we don't know. But I can't imagine that there isn't a feverish investigation into that, because the reason for Kaylee's law is that you lose a lot. You lose a lot of time. 48 hours is the critical time frame, Marnie, for a missing person.
Yeah.
And so when somebody is not reported missing, video might be erased, potential witnesses who could give an idea of where somebody was last seen, all of that can be lost. That's the reasoning behind the law. And so in this particular case, I think that law enforcement is really working on that investigation to establish what happened and possibly bring more charges.
Right. And so at this point, you've got a little girl who hasn't been seen. You've got two people who were last responsible for her who have conflicting stories. I would be curious if they're trying to throw investigators off the scent, because the information they're sharing, they did so while they were incarcerated, right? Jailhouse calls between their family members. So you have to wonder about both of their credibility and where the truth lies in these two stories.
Marty, you're absolutely right. And jailhouse calls and jailhouse confessions are notoriously questionable. There are always issues with respect to credibility because of exactly what you said. Are they calculated? Are they for the purpose of creating a narrative behind bars while the rest of the investigation is being unraveled? That being said, they're also taken seriously because on one hand, the jailhouse call can be questionable because of all of those issues of credibility. But on the other hand, it could be that these jailhouse calls, meetings with family members, they're not on guard at the moment. They think they're having private conversations, even though it is disclosed in every jail, in every prison, that those calls are recorded and those calls are fair game. Oftentimes, when those meetings are happening, when they're speaking to family members from behind bars, they're not on their A game. They're making statements that they might not be in their best interest, and that's why the calls are recorded for one thing, in order to assess whether or not there's evidence relating to another crime.
And I think eventually, though, that Diana will eventually slip up and say something that's going to lead to information, or even Chris for that matter. Who knows? But him wanting access to the evidence. So at first I was thinking to myself, him wanting access to the evidence was something that they pushed at his hearing. And at first I was like, oh, that's a red flag. Like, is he wanting to look and see what they have so that he can cover it up, or so that he can, be one step ahead and finding it out. But honestly, if he's not wanting to go down for this, if he is not wanting to be painted as some type of, homicidal maniac that potentially killed his stepdaughter, because that's what we all thought at first, right? That Chris had killed her. Not Diana. We all thought Chris. I mean, I would want access to the evidence too, so that I could prove that I was innocent. So that I could prove that I ain't had nothing to do with it. And he's probably the only one that's going to be able to look at stuff behind the scenes and say, no, that's not right. Looking at the evidence, he's going to be able to look at Diana's communications and things like that and be like, why was she talking to her cousin Johnny, who she ain't talked to in 10 years? Or something along those lines, right? He's the one who's going to be able to see the strange communications and stuff like that and be able to flag it as being strange. You think he's trying to clear himself, right? You went straight to trafficking, Dynamite. So that was a thought too, right? That she could have been trafficked. It's still, honest to goodness, if they had money, like they're both alleging that money was out of there, I mean, yeah, it's possible that they could have sold her. And maybe it is a combined effort. But I don't know. To me, I lean more towards Diana doing something at this point, whether it's hiding her or whatever, right? That's just me though.
So yes, they are scrutinized, but they're valuable as well.
Right. And if you are the defense team for mom, Diana Cojocari, are you concerned that Chris Palmiter was released on bond, that his bond was reduced and he's on an ankle monitor and she's still behind bars?
Definitely, because in that situation, and we heard it from his lawyer's statement, he's obviously cooperating, right? He's cooperating with prosecutors. He's giving a narrative. He's telling a story. And then he's out on bond. Meanwhile, the mother is still behind bars. And a lot of that is judicial discretion, especially in North Carolina. So every state has different rules, a lot of discretion in North Carolina when it comes to a felony charge. So the fact that he's out and she's in as a defense lawyer, first of all, I'd be making a lot of arguments about why she should be out as well. But on the flip side, as a defense lawyer, your guard goes up because you think there's more to this, right? It's not just this charge. There's more under that layer as part of the investigation. And so I would imagine her lawyers are keying up to see when is the shoe going to drop, right? What's the next step? And that would be the signal from this particular situation where one person is out on a relatively low bond that was actually reduced and the other person, no bail. So it's really a sign for sure.
And why would you argue she should be out? What's her defense?
I would argue right from the get-go that this is, you really can't be held for more than 120 days under the law. And I would argue based on the North Carolina law that she's not a threat to the public. This is what matters for bail, right? Not a threat to the public and not a flight risk. Those are the two main factors. So you would ankle monitoring, you would say there's other less aggressive means of keeping her in the country and she's not a threat to anybody. She has one criminal charge, I believe, a felony drug conviction, or a felony drug charge that was dismissed. So she doesn't have a felony record. And the drug charge isn't related to the charge she's currently being held on. So those are all the arguments you would make. I imagine because she'd been communicating and that one email where she says, smuggle me and Madalina out of the country, that's probably what's being used by prosecutors to hold her, because that is flight risk, that the alarms are going off from a flight risk perspective, that's something that she might have the capability to do.
I have a few questions from viewers, and I think I might be able to answer some of them, Misty, and then I have another legal question for you. One of our viewers, Harper 2.0 on Twitter, is asking if it was proved that Madalina was seen or not seen with Octavian, who is the family cousin, on Sugar Mountain in December. And I can tell you that we talked to police in that area of Sugar Mountain. They did confirm that there was a possible sighting, but police in Cornelius have said it was not Madalina in this case. I've got another question from This is from Tiffany Ross on YouTube. She wants to know if Chris and Diana have spoken since the release. We don't have an answer to that question, but I have one about the property being checked from Eastern Girls 1969. Have they checked their whole property? The answer to that is yes. They had been doing some burning of furniture in their backyard, and that was taken into evidence. Neighbors thought that was very peculiar. In this case, what were they burning? Why were they doing it? It was around the time that Madalina had vanished, but had not yet been reported. So very peculiar. Good questions from everybody who's watching. My question for you, Misty, is we don't know if a crime has been committed. We know this little girl is gone. We can assume that something against her will has happened to her. Mom's not talking. Stepdad says, this is what I think happened. For a prosecutor, though, to charge a crime, I hope she's alive. If she's not, do they need a body to charge either of them in a crime? And can they do so without that?
So they can, by the way, Marty, just note, those are all excellent questions. Wow, the viewers have such a detailed eye to this case, which is so important because that's the reason we covered this on News Nation, right, to raise awareness. So kudos to the viewers. As far as your question, no body murder cases are more difficult to prove, but they're not impossible. You can have circumstantial evidence that tends to show that somebody is no longer alive. The reason that they're difficult to prove is because the body is the best piece of evidence in a case. It can show the means and manner and time of death. So without a body, it can be more challenging, but other evidence can be sufficient to prove a no body case in a court of law. With respect to this case, definitely they are working behind the scenes to further the investigation. And that's why you see her being held on a charge that is relating to the time frame it took her to report Madalina missing. That is always going to be suspect.
But see, they reduced his bond way down to $25,000 for that same charge and left hers at $250,000. So I think at this point, even the police are more leaning towards Diana being involved in things. I don't think either of them should be necessarily walking around. But, whenever it comes right down to it, if they have more evidence about Diana, then it makes sense why they would let the charges kind of fall a little bit.
When a parent does not report their child missing. And so that's why we're seeing this continue to unfold and investigators continue to be looking at her conduct and looking for evidence relating to that time frame. So not impossible, but definitely need more to charge at this juncture from what we've seen in the public sphere.
Right. And I guess just the optics of it, when you have a child go missing, if the parents aren't screaming from the rooftop immediately when they go missing, right, you start to wonder, your little spidey senses go up. Any normal person would say, my child's missing. You do everything you can to find them. It didn't happen in this case, so it raised a lot of suspicion. Then you add money into the mix. How does that complicate an investigation and their legal defense?
It acts as a motive, right? So now when there's money in the mix, investigators are going to be looking at the money, they're going to follow the money, and they're going to see the potential for financial gain as a possible motive. So from a prosecutor perspective, that is a really key factor as they continue to develop a potential case. Now, from a defense perspective, you're already on alert here to say that, number one, money can't be a motivating factor if you did nothing wrong, right? So money is ancillary if you're not responsible for the disappearance of the child. So I imagine defense attorneys are going to focus on that. But of course, if the money factor comes into play, we spoke about this before, prosecutors do not have to show motive in a court of law in order to obtain a conviction. But by gosh, it helps, especially when you're talking about a child, because everybody is going to have the question that you just said, Marnie. How could a parent not be shouting from the rooftops when their child is missing? How could a parent be so callous about the situation? And so then you factor in the money component, and it helps a jury to be able to wrap their mind around the why. And that's going to be incredibly important if this case goes to trial. And I think that lag in time, plus the money, And then if they get a lead on something else, well, maybe then you have a case. Maybe then you have a case for sure.
Two more questions. Again, I can answer these. Diane Richards on YouTube, was the trip to Michigan confirmed? So that was the trip that Chris took to Michigan. He says he went there, but that is also still part of the investigation. Mind of Monsters on YouTube is asking, was there any stoplight cameras or street cameras at all in the area, or the footage near where these sightings happened? Again, police are saying it wasn't her. These were possible sightings, but they have confirmed that Diana Cojocari was in the area, and we have those side-by-side selfies of her up in the Sugar Mountain area around the same time that Madalina disappeared. You know, as you look at this case, you've got mom, stepdad, and then in the warrant, Misty, you've got this other family member, Octavian Sabanu, and we mentioned him in the piece. He was named in the warrant that was unsealed in March. He's Diana's cousin, only relative in the U.S. He has been questioned by police. Diana says that she's had extensive communication with him about smuggling her and Madalina away from Palmiter, but he has not been charged. He is not listed as a person of interest, yet he's in these court documents. Anything significant about that?
It's twofold. So being in the court documents, just because there's an uncharged individual in the court documents doesn't mean that there wouldn't be charges down the road. There's always the possibility of that. It could also mean that law enforcement has been in contact, or that there's some kind of cooperating witness. And the other thing is, it couldn't signal neither one of those things. It could just be a relevant fact, and specifically relevant to that bail discussion we were just speaking about. So something that prosecutors are absolutely going to want in that warrant, that there was talk of smuggling previously. So it could go many, many different directions. But remember, even if no charges are brought, it doesn't mean that there couldn't be a time or place where they are down the road.
Yeah. And just a moment ago, we showed you the last known video of Madalina getting off her school bus in November of 2022. Right around Thanksgiving. I hope, Misty, that the truth lies somewhere between these two very bizarre theories from mom and stepdad, and that Madalina is alive and maybe is being hidden somewhere in the mountains of Western North Carolina. That is our hope in all cases, that they are solved and it's a positive outcome. But this one is very curious. Misty Maris, thank you for your attention on this case. If you have any information about Madalina.
So I'm not sure if there's actually money involved, Lindsay. I just think that it's something that they're saying. I mean, honestly, though, could mom have sold her? Here's the thing, you know, what if she betrothed her to someone? What if she got, like, what do they call that? The money that a man gives to the bride's family, a dowry. What if she got like a dowry or something because she betrothed her to someone else? And like, that's terrifying to think about. But if Madalina was of age because she entered her woman time period of things that happen to girls, which I'm not going to go into, could that even be a situation? And you're talking about somebody who married someone because she was a mail order bride. Is it really that hard to think of that she would have possibly married her daughter off in a similar fashion? Yeah, but it's true, Heather Bratt. Stuff like that happens. It's customary in other countries to do that. Exactly, Amy. She was already tied into the mail order bride people. Right. I mean, she could have really betrothed her off to someone. But regardless, guess what? That still means Madalina is out there somewhere. That still means that Madalina is findable. But she could literally be anywhere. Anywhere. It is sick. Yeah, certain religions do that too. And guess what? They also will marry into your own family sometimes. Cousins, second cousins, uncles will marry their nieces. You'll have to ask Alexa about the mail order bride stuff. Oh, no. Don't get Alexa involved. My goodness, but like I said, it still makes her findable. We still need to share her face out and her story day after day after day because she's out there somewhere. Just where? Yeah, just make sure she doesn't add it to your shopping list, you guys. Oh, man. I don't know. But I wanted to come on, I wanted to listen to this, so that you guys could kinda hear the back and forth, hear my thoughts a little bit about it, and, get Madalina's name into this algorithm again. Oh, rambling, I'm ending. Walk back out. It's not even worth it. You just got notified. Ugh. So, this is where we are, though, It's very possible. And would mom, knowing that being a mail order bride and, like, selling her child off or getting a dowry, knowing that that's not necessarily legal in the United States because of how she had to come in, could that be part of it? Could that be why she's not saying anything? So, I don't know, but like I said, end of the day, my thoughts and feelings are that she is alive and she needs us to share, 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 share. Hit the like button if you have not already. Hit it. Even if you don't like this video, hit it anyways. It's not for me, it's for Madalina. Can't find the exact answer of an age, but you think of it. You think it's a possibility? Yeah. I'm just gonna kick her out. It does, it makes the most sense. Rambling, you done ruined my whole vibe. I'm just out. Not even gonna continue. No, I'm just kidding. No, I had to finish up. Gotta get gotta get Junior some stuff going on in her life because it's 10. So, yeah, look how long we have to keep hope. Alicia was found. Alicia Navarro, I feel so bad for her mom because I think the publicity after she was found helped drive Alicia back underground. They were constantly getting harassed, getting pictures taken of her and all the different things, and she has just gone back underground, basically, back to not communicating with mom, and it's sad for other missing teens that might be afraid of coming forward because they're worried about the similar type of press and things like that. Aw, rambling. Anyways, guys, alright, I love you all so much. I really do, and, thank you all for coming to support this live stream and to share out Madalina's name again. So, talk to you all later. Have a great day. I'll probably be on this afternoon at some point, so bye.